The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN just after 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Got about 24 minutes to go until the opening bell, and we kick things off basically flat, right near the highs of where we closed out yesterday's action. Quite a day to the upside, and the markets pick things up right where we left off. S&P is positive by 6 points right now, trading at 59.40. You get the NASDAQ 100. Even above where we were at the close, up by about 0.25%, up by 48 points, 21,508. Now remember, we got NVIDIA earnings after the bell tonight. That'll be a bellwether for those tech stocks. NASDAQ 100 in focus. Dow right now slightly in the red by about 21 points. And you get the Russell flat, trading at 2,092. Bitcoin, 109,000 on the dot, down $1,000. Crude catches a little bit of a bid this morning, right back to where we were almost 24 hours ago. Early in the morning yesterday, we're at 61.83 right now. You were approaching a 59 handle yesterday, so crude clawing back some of those losses. We jumped to the all-important note and bond market. And a little bit of a recoil, I say, as in lower price, higher yield right now. But we're talking about a 10-year yield, and we're talking about right now, we're sitting at 4.47. Okay, 4.47, the yield on that 10-year as we drop off a bit just in the last few minutes. You jump over to the dollar index, DXY. Yeah, dollar strength, right? 99.80, we'll call it in the dollar. And you jump over to that gold contract. And gold holding up relatively well as we got more dollar strength. Gold up $6 right now at 33.34. Now remember, folks, this is a rollover going on. Okay, so we're up $5 at 33.34, but we closed last night's session at about 3,300. So your head might say, "Oh, we're back at 33.35." That's on the futures, not on the cash price. We have a rollover going over. It happens every 90 days. You see it on this chart. You get a little bit of a boost on the futures. Nonetheless, gold up by $7 right now. We jump over to silver, flat this morning at 33.31. We check in on copper. Pull back yesterday on copper and continuing that. Check out copper, right? We're up at 490 almost last week. And just like that, you give up 20 pennies. We're trading at 470 right now for copper shares. Copper future contract. All right. So as I mentioned, we got NVIDIA earnings after the bell today. You take a look at NVIDIA, higher in the pre-market by almost $1. We're trading at 136 right now, just above it from 135.50 yesterday. They're not the only company with earnings. We got many companies out. Salesforce, one of them. And how about Abercrombie and Fitch? Talk about a classic, man. I remember college. Yeah, college. Shopping at Abercrombie and Fitch. That's 25 years ago, folks. Beat expectations. You see the move there, right? Up by $20. Excuse me, from 77 to 97. And yeah, you're talking about an acceleration, man. And to get the headlines, getting down to the numbers. Here it is. Earnings, $1.59 versus $1.39, right? Taking it to the bottom line. Net income for the 3-month period, $80 million. Sales rose to $1.1 billion, up 8% was the number there. Hollister Brands, 22% growth. Best ever first quarter net sales. Abercrombie Brands net sales were down 4%, but yeah, how about those certain areas, right? For the current quarter, 3 to 5% acceleration they're looking for. Nonetheless, the market's loving that news. I was looking at it this morning. They're loving that news, man. Right away, up to 102. You're sitting at 98. We take a longer term look at that equity. And yeah, it's been quite a pullback. And we're going to jump to about 100. Go back on a monthly. How about this roller coaster, man? Whew. So you're going to open at 100. And boy, we'll see how we come in the volume, but that is some volume during the tariffs, etc. Nonetheless, Abercrombie & Fitch, how about that? $20 to the upside this morning. All right, other equities moving this morning. Look at this long-term chart. How about Macy's, right? We'll go back to a shorter term. Macy's out with their numbers as well. And they stick with their forecast. They're looking for sales between 21 to 21.4 billion is what they're looking for the full year. But that's going to be a decline from the 22.29. But nonetheless, the market's okay with that as we drift up a bit to 12.45. But yeah, there's a lot of bad baked into this equity. All right, let's jump around to some of the other Magnificent Seven. Apple shares up by more than $1 in the pre-market. Not bad. You jump over to Microsoft shares. Same deal, up a couple dollars. Amazon shares this morning, slightly in the red by a penny to 205.93 from 206.02. Tesla, quite the acceleration yesterday. You're going to open by $3 as well. I was reading about SpaceX last night, had another rocket explode. Nothing to do with Tesla, and that's just the course of business in terms of, you know, a lot of what Elon does, man. He's not afraid of making mistakes. And in the rocket business, it seems like that's how they do it, right? They throw them up there, they do their best, and if they explode, they get all the data to figure out how they did it wrong. But nonetheless, Tesla up another $3 to 265. You're on quite a run, man, from 200 on April 7th. We're almost going to be at a double bagger, man. We reach a low of 214. We're trading at 365 for Tesla shares right now. All right, we jump over to NVIDIA. So, and yeah, it's been quite a rally for NVIDIA as well. All right. The numbers they're looking for, folks, how about $19 billion in net income on revenue of $43 billion? The margins on these companies are amazing. I mean, imagine, just dumb it down to lower numbers, right? If you're running a business that you're taking in $430,000 and you're taking $190,000 to the bottom line, amazing margins. And that's what they're doing with billions. Up 31% on their net income number, and the revenue number up 66% is the number they're looking for. But guess what? Just like I said, they're going to look for the margins, okay? But check out these margins, man. Gross margins should return to the mid-70s by the end of the year from a projection of roughly 71%. They're at 71% the first quarter, and they're looking for gross margins to go up. To go up. Amazing numbers we're looking for on their numbers after the bell tonight. And yeah, there's a lot in flux, of course, with China, NVIDIA, the tech companies. Who's buying their chips? Is that going to contribute to, whether it's the likes of Meta, etc.? You jump over to Meta shares this morning. Trading at 642 right now, basically flat. And yeah, NVIDIA shares. How about that, man? 73%. Amazing. All right, folks, we got the S&Ps up by 7. We got markets green across the board right now. Jump over the VIX. 19. Let's put it back to a daily. 19. Now, about 17 and change has been the lower echelon since about February 20th, when this really started ratcheting up. But nonetheless, we got a VIX at 19. We got markets in the green. We got NVIDIA earnings after the bell. We'll come back. We'll talk some other equities. Stay tuned, folks. If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This portion of the Morning Market Kickoff is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Welcome back, folks. We got the NASDAQ 100 up by 50 points, 0.25%. NVIDIA going to be the driver today with their numbers after the bell. But as we mentioned, we got some other movers and shakers in there. Abercrombie and Fitch, man, $23 to the upside. You talk about it. All right, let's talk a little bit of AI on the eve or on the day of NVIDIA earnings, and this one's remarkable, folks, okay? Content creation, the way that AI is able to generate videos now, and this has really started to accelerate with VO3, that's Google's new AI video model that has sound as well. There's a lot of video content creation. Listen, TFNN, we're in the content creation business, okay? We're in the trading education business as well, but right now, if you're watching the program, this is content. It's being created. Can't help but pay attention to what's going on, and yeah, now this is the Journal talking about it, okay? This is out this morning saying we made a film with AI. You'll be blown away and freaked out. The tools are magic, and you got to start playing with it. You can make anything, all right? And the remarkable thing here is that you can use, there's not even, this is going to be, we're at the very forefront here where there's apps like Pika that I've played with, which I think is Pika. Is that what it is? I think it is. Let me pull it up because that's a fun one as well. Yeah, Pika.art, okay, is an interesting one, folks, that I've been playing with. You can do a lot. You can take pictures. You can alter those pictures. You can create things with text. It does not do audio, though. And what you're now seeing, and I saw this one come up recently, okay, is that this was a post, and I'll share this in the den because this is worth watching, folks, okay? And what this person says is, and this is evolving AI, whatever it is, all right? It's some account. I think I saw them on Facebook or Instagram or something. But basically, all of these use credits, okay? And the reason why they have to use credits is because if you don't have credits, then you're going to have people, if it's just a regular subscription service, you're going to be running, it would just incentivize you to run your AI at 24 hours a day to maximize the data, right? So what they're doing is they're charging you for basically the computations on the back end. So you do a lot of computations, you got to pay a little extra. You do less, whatever it is. So for $500, they basically created a mock drug ad, right? A pharmaceutical commercial. And it's amazing. It's perfect. And yeah, there's certain subtle nuances that you might be able to tell that something is AI. But it's happening, folks. It's coming. And it's basically here. And on the content side of things, you're going to be able to create movies in your home studio for nothing. And then when you talk about short version content, which drives so much of social media, it's not even close. Okay? And, you know, whether this ad would have cost $500,000, who knows what it really would have cost. But guess what? $500 and some prompts. Meanwhile, you have an ad that used to take multiple different shots, multiple different actors, right, playing roles. One day, $500, you talk to your AI, no camera, no crew, the ad's done. Okay? And it's an amusing ad. I'll post this. I'll find the ad. It's a mock ad for for a healthcare drug called Puppermint, which basically means we'll give you a puppy and make you better. Okay, but boy, if you haven't started playing with it, folks, I mean, I find myself saying, you know what? Maybe I should try that new Google service for $250 for 1 month to see what all the action's about. Because if Pika.art, because I played with that one, it's awesome. And the cool part about it is, right, so ChatGPT can create images, but what they do is they guard licenses. So you can't say ChatGPT right now, they're such a big company that you can't tell ChatGPT to use anything licensed. So if you want to create a Marvel Spider-Man, you want to create, you know, the Hulk, you want to create whatever it is, right? Iron Man, can't do that because that's licensed material. So ChatGPT is saying we can't do that. Guess what? The other ones can. Pika can do it, okay? And I wonder what. So you're going to have these AI, just in the same way that we had Napster in the forefront stealing everyone's music, and eventually the courts caught up and said, no, that's licensed material. You can't do that. In the forefront right now, you can do it. You can do, licensed material, and that is one of the most interesting aspects of, and they'll clamp that down. But boy, if you're in content creation, and this is where you talk about margins, right? Yeah, and so that's what they're saying in here. They basically made an entire movie, okay? And, you're going to be able to do it with anything. Whether you're talking about the total cost would have been a few $1,000s for Google and Runway's AI video tools. We paid for some of it. The companies gave us access to show it. I mean, this is a PR piece, right? The company literally gave them free access to write this article to talk about their work. So take it for what it's worth. But guess what? It's happening, man. And I only, that's what it's 8 days ago. Google dropped that VO3, okay? Including dialogue and sound effects. That's the coolest part of this. Dialogue and sound effects, folks. Check it out. All right? And if you don't want to pay it, I get you $250 if you're just playing with it with no use. But in the corporate space, it's just going to be everywhere. It's just going to be everywhere. And I can't imagine right now being an actor in like a B grade role, right? There's going to be movie stars, folks, but the rest of the cast, what is the point when you can just have AI? And I'm exaggerating a bit, but that's where it's going. And, you're seeing this. I saw that article about creating the health ad, and it blew me away. I said, yeah, why? Imagine if you're in the business making ads. So when you look at a company like Google, okay, and this thing's been on a rocket ship since it announced. That was the announcement right there. That's when this thing went through the roof. You were trading at 165, you're $10 higher. Let's back it up a little bit further than that. Yeah, that was the acceleration on the $250 VO3. But it is remarkable, folks, when you can create images with audio, with sound. You got to try it out. I'll see if I can get some of the images that I've even created. It's just great stuff. All right. Let's jump back to the markets right now. S&P's up by 3, NASDAQ 100 up by 35. We check out some of the tech stocks with Meta slightly in the red. And NVIDIA slightly in the green at 136 as we come into their numbers. And as I mentioned, you're looking at about a $10 move almost. Priced in, folks. $136 equity, $10 in either direction is what they're pricing in for their numbers. So the market's saying 125 to 145, but as we know, sometimes NVIDIA can trade with some volatility, to say the least. We'll check that out. All right, what else do we got going on? The original meme stock is on a run. I guess that's so they buy $500 million of Bitcoin. I'd be careful of this one, folks. Everybody wants to be the vehicle for Bitcoin, okay? But GameStop, yeah, they now own 4,700 Bitcoin. $500 million is what they're in, and they're buying it at $109,000. Right at records. So much for timing, right? But guess what? These companies that are going to be Bitcoin vehicles, they're not in the timing business at all. We'll talk about this. We'll talk some Bitcoin. We'll come back for the opening bell, folks.
This year has already been a wild ride for the market. We started off heavily in the red, traversed back to all-time highs, and we now have a trade war looming. Trying to play this chop as an individual trader leads to death by 1,000 cuts. Where does this market go next? Should I add to this position or cut my losses? Where is the next opportunity? Tariffs, trade wars, analysis paralysis. Don't become a victim of this intense market. Instead, join Larry Pesavento over the second and fourth Friday of every month for 3 hours of live trading. Larry has been through many markets just like this one, and the insight he provides is invaluable. The dates for this month are April 11th and 25th, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern Time. Get in here and let's start trading. TFNN, educating investors.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstack's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstack releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got equities open, and you have the S&Ps up by 9 points. We kick off the session. Be interesting to see as we come into the closing bell. Watch those tech stocks. Watch those Magnificent Seven. NVIDIA with their numbers after the bell, but they're going to be a bellwether, and it's always interesting to see who's buying their products, right? Is Meta buying their products? Up by, ooh, look at that pop. There we go. Meta up by 1% right on the open. Apple shares up by 0.5% right now. Amazon up by about 0.3%. We get a little bit of a lift on the open there. Yeah, look at that lift on Meta, man. Watch out. We jump over to Google shares. Not quite the same. Google basically flat this morning. We check in on Tesla shares, basically flat as well, trading at 362 right now. And you check in on some of the movers. Whoo-wee. Man, Abercrombie & Fitch up by 34%. 34%. Yeah, and this is a story of low expectations and beating those expectations. This thing's gotten pummeled since January. Bad earnings in February. Okay. And yeah, they have a slight increase in terms of their sales. But yeah, this is basically that the outlook, okay, when you have a lot of companies pulling their outlook for the tariffs, right? Companies that can actually reiterate their outlook is 33%, man. I mean, all you're back to, though, is where we were 3 months ago. So yeah, you're up 33%, but there was a lot of baked in terms of the fears, tariffs, lows of 65, boom, just like that, you're back to 102. But boy, you talk about it, man. So they nudge up their full-year sales growth outlook. They lower their profit outlook, suggesting it's going to eat some of the costs of the tariffs. And they beat on earnings. Net sales rising 8% to $1.1 billion. And yeah, that Hollister brand. So net sales of $1.1 billion, while the Hollister brand is up to $549 million. I'm unfamiliar with the Hollister brand of clothing. Guess I'm going to have to check it out. So for those in the know, in the den, in the YouTube Tigers Den, help me out. So is the Hollister brand, is that its own store? What is this? I mean, it must be, right? It's not doing 500. Is the Hollister, I'm so out of touch, and yeah, I guess it is. I'm bringing over just, so this is what's doing 550 million right now? This is the Hollister brand? They own stores. And what kind of, they own, so it's a physical retailer, Hollister brands? I guess I haven't been to enough malls. I thought I have. We go to malls. Man. Pretty remarkable that I'm not even, just shows, you know, that's not my forte. And no shame in that, man. But nonetheless, how about that? 35%. Now, we go back to a 5-year weekly. Yeah, we're going to get some volume this week. You know, even on a shortened week, we've already done 7.5 million shares coming into today. And that's when you're doing 11, 12 million on a weekly basis. If you're getting into this equity, folks, okay, keep your eye on the March 3rd bar. Check this out, right? The high there, 105.77. Where did we just hit? 105, 104.99. All right? If you're in a short-term trade in this, think about taking some off the table, man, because that's a big headache that you got to get above, right? You got to get above the nice round number of 100. You got a ton of volume on that weekly bar from March 3rd, 22.6 million shares. And yeah, we're bumping up right against it right now, but that's where you want to watch. You plow through there, you do it on volume. Yeah, watch out to the upside, man. Abercrombie & Fitch, Hollister brands. All right. Yeah, the Hollister name rings a bell, but not to the tune of So it does ring a bell, but I'm unaware of if they're just an online retailer, right? They're a physical retailer, whatever it is. It rings a bell, but it does not ring a bell to the tune of basically half of Abercrombie's. Is that right? Yeah, it's going to be half of their revenue. Where is it? I was just reading it on this one, I guess. It's going to be half of their revenue. Is that what I was reading? Yeah, it is. Yeah, even more for the first time. So Hollister is up to $549.4 million in the quarter. And meanwhile, net sales were $1.1 billion. Whew. That's where you see some of these companies, they just know how to pivot, right? Instead of living and dying on that Abercrombie & Fitch brand, which was everything. No, they take off on, Hollister to the upside. Whew, you talk about it, man. Not bad. All right, let's talk a little bit of Bitcoin. Yeah, so GameStop, they're trying to be a vehicle to acquire Bitcoin. Now, the tough part of this is, you look at MicroStrategy. All right, this is the ultimate vehicle for Bitcoin. Right now, we're just off of the highs of 405. And if you look at GameStop here, I'm not sure when. There was a day when they announced they were going to do this, and you gave it all back the next day. Maybe it was February 18th. It could have been coming into their earnings that they said they're going to do it. You gave it back. This thing's accelerated with the market. GameStop from 20 to 36. But look at this, right? Yeah, be wary of this. I don't think the market is keen on this, just from the reaction that it continually gets in terms of turning into a Bitcoin vehicle at these prices, right? And as I mentioned, really the market does not care about market timing. That's like MicroStrategy. They are not in the business of market timing. All they're in the business of is leveraging up access to Bitcoin. That's it. They're going to buy it at every opportunity. And there's no second player in that game. It's kind of like an ETF story, right? There's only one SPY. Now, there's more than one ETF for the S&P, but there's only one SPY. If you're the biggest one out there, you go to that. Why are you going to go to GameStop when you got MicroStrategy out there for the same exact thing, right? Purchasing Bitcoin on a leveraged vehicle basis. And just like that, GameStop's off 2.6%. You get back some of the gains of yesterday. It's been quite a run from $28, though, from GameStop. Is this Instacart, right? Yeah. So they got a new CEO effective August 15th. And the headline out there, do I have it here? Yeah, here it is. Their old CEO, where are they going? OpenAI. Yeah. They announced this month that it recruited as a new applications lead. And they joined the company in 2019 after 11 years at Apple. It's amazing, all these tech companies, right? Chris Rogers, after their last CEO, Fidji Simo, is now the head of applications at OpenAI. And yeah, this equity, Instacart, not bad. We'll take a look at this. Look at this volume, though, drying up on Instacart. We'll talk a little Instacart when we get back, folks. Stay tuned.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. We got the S&Ps up by 16 right now. We got the NASDAQ 100 up by 92, and we got the dollar, the DXY, pushing 100 yet again. And, folks, as we do every Wednesday at 40 past the hour, we're going to talk to our man, Teddy Cakestat. If you haven't checked out his outstanding newsletter, folks, I got it up here right now, the Tiger Forex Report. Great time to do it with all the action we got in currencies, in yields. You check it out, only $97 for the month, folks. It comes with a webinar in there. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can't go wrong. Check it out. Right on the front page of TFNN under that newsletter tab. Teddy Cakestat, good morning.
Good morning, Tommy.
Boy, we got action in this market as usual. The market getting ready for some NVIDIA earnings, but boy, we've had some action in the dollar, in yields, the yen, if we could talk about it at some point. But how about the DXY, man? Off that low of 98, we're pushing that 100 point yet again. What do you think about? Can we kick it off there, maybe?
Sure. Well, right now you have the pound and the euro, which is causing most of the dollar strength right now for the index. I like the rally right now in the U.S. dollar. So yesterday was kind of a pivotal day. You know, Friday we had a nice little peak, if you will, or bottom, depending on which pair you're talking about. And yesterday's trade was a pretty good follow through after Monday's, holiday market. Remember, Monday the currencies were open while all of the rest of our markets were closed. So, and at first it looked like yesterday might be just a profit-taking little slide, but today's action, I think, is definitely putting the tone on a correction, meaning dollar strength for the next, I would say, like probably next couple of days, if you will. I wouldn't get overly bullish. For the most part, remember, I've been calling for range trade markets, so I would be very cautious with as far as expectations on to the upside or downside in anything relating with the currencies right now.
Nice. And I jumped around to the pound and the euro when you were talking about that. And is there a particular reason why those two are driving the action? I know the yen's got some action as well, but what was is there a reason, or are they just buying or selling? What was going on over there in particular? Anything?
That's a really good question. I think that the rationale here for dollar strength in the European sector versus Japan, which is a totally different story, has two factors. One is the fundamental economic factor, is that both the UK and the EU are collapsing. Their economies are beyond stagnant. They're literally imploding. And then you have a lot of social unrest. You know, the media is not covering what's going on in Germany and across France and across the UK, especially like in Ireland right now, what's going on. You know, so, and these things on a global basis, if you do business in these countries, you already know that it's getting harder and more expensive to do business in these countries. Plus, there's also now the political and social factors of unrest that's growing there. You know, I mean, you have Germany now that's moving Mercedes and Volkswagen plants to other countries besides ours. Still, that's the only way they can produce the cars. They can't produce them in Germany anymore, especially with the oppressive Green New Deal laws. You know, so that's a big deal for those companies. You know, how they're going to rebound and absorb that. You know, to reallocate your industrial complex, that's a very big undertaking. And that also means that there's no longer an industrial complex to rely on anymore. So I would think that, you know, before, remember I told you, I've been saying this for months, is that, you know, dollar strength, you have to look at it not in the sense that it's a dollar that's so strong, it's that the other currencies are that weak against the dollar. So, you know, short-lived, we have the yield-driven fundamentals that have helped the rally in the euro and the pound versus the dollar, but they're pretty much at their extreme. So, and especially until we cut rates. You know, if we cut rates, there's a little bit maybe room for them to spike a little bit, but I think you have a better chance of seeing being able to capitalize the downside on moves in both the euro and the pound versus the dollar over the next 3 to 6 months.
Nice. I appreciate that commentary, man. Makes sense. And what about the yen? Let's talk a little yen. Let's go. You know, they're pushing out long-term yields. That was a problem, right? They're trying to calm that. The yen's had some real action this week, of course. What do you think about the yen? It's still rising. We're almost at 145 right now, and we were at 142 like 24 hours ago, a little bit. What do you think about that yen?
Well, you know, the yen has a lot of dynamics that are influencing it right now. So, I mean, you look at yields and you look at crude, those are basically in a sideways pattern right now. So they're really not affecting the trade for the U.S. dollar yen. Now, you mentioned the 30 and 40-year bond issuances and what's going on with them. This would take a whole hour to get into the whole dynamics of what's going on. You know what I mean? So I'm going to do a really Cliff Note version. And the reality is that there's a lot of juggling around. It's basically shifting from Peter to Paul going on around Japan. So I think there's going to be a lot of headlines and a lot of news. You do still have the highest rates in Japan that you've had in decades. The reality is that the Nikkei has really never rebounded since the 90s, to be quite honest with you. You know, their market is not weak, but it by no means is in a growth model by any long-term forecast, you know. And I'm not being pessimistic. Japan is a very strong powerhouse economically. You know, industrial production, they're fantastic. You know, they have all the key ingredients for success, but they have their woes, and the biggest woe is their debt to GDP ratio. You know, I mean, you want a case study on why we shouldn't let our debt escalate? Look at what's going on with Japan right now.
Oof, totally, man.
You know what I mean? If you put it on an actual perspective, if you put their debt load compared to GDP and then put it on ours, think about how much debt we would have in this country. People complain about our debt is high, but as a percentage basis, Japan's really, has a noose around their throat. You know, so I think that we have to watch what they do. I would expect the BOJ not to do very, very much. Now, one of the things they've been doing is because the yields have been markedly pushed higher, they've been buying back a lot of bonds, which in that case is kind of good because think about it, they sold them at higher prices than they're buying them back at. So, you know,
they're
as far as
fixed income traders, right? That's it, totally. Yeah,
exactly. So instead of refinancing, at least they are scalping that, if you will. So they're getting some money back on that on the front end. And now the question is, though the rates are higher, what do? They can't really finance it. But I think what they're going to do is probably finance. This would be a situation where they probably finance with shorter term liabilities because there's probably going to be an expectation of, I would think, a cut from Japan to go back to where they were. You know what I mean? Later on.
Yeah. Nice. What do you think about gold? As we've had some volatility, man, and of course the dollar, you know, the yen ties into that. But what do you think about gold? Holding up pretty well, 3,300 and change right now.
You know what? I think it's going to be setting a range trade. I like the fact that, it's had a nice run. You got to have some profit taking. That's pretty much what I think you've seen over the past month and a half. As far as the upside, I really don't see very much to the upside or to the downside. I think you're setting a wide range trade, and you got to look at what happened in your state, recently. Now they're they passed the law that they're going to accept gold and silver as, payments now for businesses and banks. And that's the second state in the country to do it. So we're going back to a method that this country hasn't seen. That's what we originally were built on, So that could be a nice liquidity factor for gold moving forward.
I haven't found that. I got to look that one up. I didn't realize I could show up at the store with my gold anymore in Florida. I got to love it, man. Totally.
Well, not yet. It's coming. DeSantis is working on it. But they already have it in motion. So
gold as currency. Got to love it. The true currency, right? Teddy, man, thanks for the info. Great information. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week, brother.
Take care.
Take care. Folks, check out that Tiger Forex report. He's got a couple of outstanding webinars under the services tab as well. Check them out. We'll be right back, folks.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks, and we got a treat. Basil is out today, so Basil's back tomorrow, folks. But our man Larry Pesavento, man, he's been picking up the slack. Thank you, Larry. He's doing double duty. Larry Pesavento is going to be coming up live next, folks, covering the Tiger Technicians Hour, and then he'll be back for his program as well. We check out Fubo TV. Now, boy, take a look at this. We got a request to take a look at this thing. You back it up to January, okay? They did a deal with Disney back then. Okay, joint venture with Disney up to $6.45. You back all the way down to $2 and change, and we're higher yet again. Now, there was a news out there, I think, just earlier this month. What was that, around the 13th or so, where you start accelerating? They signed a deal with the EU. Now, Fubo, man. So fundamentally, they got to get business going, okay? Technically, right now, I'm going to take this one out of the equation where you did 682 million shares in a day, okay, just to reset the volume. And what I want to show you is, since we came down, we've had declining volume. You had 2 big up days, okay, but we just accelerated above there on lighter volume on yesterday's move. So be careful out there. And, the last one I want to show you, folks, is this one here. And this is what I was talking about with Pika, okay? If you haven't given it a glimpse, folks, check it out. And this is what the stuff that I created. So, I'm saying, all right, what about TFNN, right? I say, shot starts a skyline, give me a guy walking in front of a bull. This is stuff that took me 2 seconds, folks. And it's like $20 for a whole month, okay? Then the cool part is, check these out. I had Tommy, you give him a picture, you say, turn him into Iron Man, right? Do you see these? All right, let me see if I can blow it up. Can I make it bigger? How do I make it bigger? There it is. Look at Tommy turning into Iron Man. All right? Look at him, right there. I mean, this is stuff that used to take, digital teams to put together. And now you get to have your son turn into Iron Man flying through space for nothing. Now, this is taking 3 seconds, folks. All this AI generated, okay? Wall Street, put them in a skyline, give them some trading computers. You can see ads are going to be everywhere. This is going to define everything. And this is just me taking 3 seconds to play with it. And then I said, look at Sonic and Tails. Okay? I did all this. You can use it. The world is changing, folks. Change with it. Stay on that forefront. Thanks so much, folks. Stay tuned for Larry. He's coming up now.